What's going on, everyone? That's Molly Crickman.
That's Amanda Hamilton.
And this is 0 to 125.
Video.
Here goes Stroud. On today's episode, we're going to talk all about programming.
Amanda, how are you planning to train for this race?
So I'm going to consult the trusty internet to understand how I should program for a race this big. Like I said before, guys, I have never done anything this big before and have always trained from an intuition perspective. So this is going to be the first time I'm really following a formal training plan. What about you?
Same. I have no experience doing anything this big. I feel like I've tried different training blocks in the past that I've tried to program myself, and they've gone relatively well, but I think I could do better. So this time I'm actually going to be working with a coach to help me figure that out, and we're going to be planning this out in the next few weeks. So stay tuned for more info about that.
Sweet. And for this time, I'm going to try to learn with you guys and explain how I'm going to structure this first training block for myself. So can't wait to take you guys along on this. Let's get right into it. Like I said, I'm going to try to structure my own workout plan for this race. After a little bit of research, I've decided that I want to break out my workouts into 3 different workout types: tempo, threshold, and VO2 max. This seems to be a pretty standard structure for a lot of endurance athletes, so let me take you into what each of these means. A tempo workout is going to be an effort sustained from 30 minutes to 2 hours in heart rate zone 3. Now keep in mind, we did those FTP tests last week, and I now know where my heart rate zones are, so I'm going to kind of use the results from that test to understand where I need to be for tempo. Threshold is a little bit more difficult. It's going to be an effort that can be sustained between 30 and 70 minutes and usually performed as intervals. So I'm going to think of these as workouts where I'm going to be climbing up a mountain to then descend, using that climb as kind of that interval to work harder to get up that mountain. I can also do this on a trainer, but the one thing I do want to keep in mind is that Molly and I still really do love riding park and really love riding enduro, so I want to make sure we can have fun while we're training for this race. The final type is going to be the VO2 max. That's going to be my maximum aerobic effort in short intervals. So I'm thinking of this as like hill sprints, really just any type of workout that's going to put me in an absolute pain cave and make me completely miserable. The one thing I want to note about VO2 max is a lot of people recommend not going into VO2 max type efforts right off the bat. They say that you should kind of work up to it. So I'm probably going to integrate VO2 max workouts probably 3 or 4 weeks into this particular training block, just so I don't overwork myself too early. Another thing I do want to note about this threshold tempo training that we're going to be doing is that Molly and I spend actually a lot of time in the gym lifting weights as well. We're both very, very avid weightlifters. We take our strength training seriously because the type of riding that we've done historically has really required strong muscles and strong joints for us. So on some of these lower effort days, we are still going to make a point to be in the gym. We want to make sure we don't lose all of the gains that we've gotten in the past couple of years just because we're training for a more endurance-centric event. So we will be integrating weightlifting into this as well. Back to the schedule. I want to run you guys through what my example week is going to look like from a training perspective. On Sunday, we're going to do a long tempo ride. It's going to be an adventure ride. We're probably going to be at some really cool location, just getting laps in and having a really, really good time with friends. So we'll treat those as tempo rides. On Monday, we'll take a rest day after a hard weekend. Tuesday, we're going to do threshold intervals and then an upper body circuit. On Wednesday, we're going to do a tempo ride with a lower body circuit to make sure we're keeping that progressive overload going with our muscles. Thursday, we're going to take it easy and do a recovery ride and some mobility. Friday, we're getting into the weekend again. We'll have a threshold ride, so something a little bit more difficult. And then Saturday, similar to Sunday, we're going to do a long tempo ride, keeping it more adventure style so we can make sure we have a really, really fun time during this whole training block. That's what my first training block is going to look like. I've never really structured a bike training plan like this, and so I'm honestly a little bit overwhelmed at how many times I'm going to be riding my bike throughout the week. I think more often than not, a lot of us who really love riding sometimes put it to the wayside during weekdays because you're busy with work, with school, with family. And so I'm interested to see how tired I feel, if this feels like an overwhelming amount, but I am really, really excited to bump up my fitness and honestly see if I can raise my FTP over the course of the next couple months. So let me know what you guys think about this training plan. Does it look like too much? Does it look like not enough? How many miles should I be riding every week? Can't wait to get into this and show you guys how it goes. We'll talk to you next time.